Hey, all right, Jim Allen, welcome to Atlanta Braves Chop Live. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
All right, great, thank you. And so before we dive in, so SVP Corporate Partnerships with the Atlanta Braves. Can you tell us a little bit about your role there, what you do with the Braves?
So, head up basically our corporate and what we call premium partnership areas within the Brave. So, corporate partnerships is basically everything from an advertising perspective.
Mhm.
So, if you think of the Cokes and Deltas and Home Depots of the world and their relationship with the organization, basically anybody you would see if you came onto property from a corporation perspective, as well
Right,
as if you were outside the four walls of the ballpark and you were out at a Kroger or a Truist Bank or
right.
something and saw a Braves promotion, that would really be our area of responsibility, is kind of monetizing that in the right way within the organization. And then we also have about 4,000 premium seats, which would be all of our suites, as well as all of our club seats that I'm responsible for. Same thing, kind of the sales and servicing of all of those accounts.
Now, as far as those corporate sponsorships, you see it maybe in other leagues. Soccer is a good one, racing, obviously, and then in foreign professional baseball leagues in Korea, Japan, the players are have all the corporate sponsorships and patches on their uniforms. Do you have corporate sponsors that are asking about that, or how close is Major League Baseball potentially getting to, seeing Target or Coca-Cola on a Braves uniform?
So actually, it's funny you bring that up. So 2023, opening day next year, will be the first year that teams will have the ability to put a company's logo on their uniform. It'll actually be on the sleeve of the uniform,
Oh,
but it'll be the first time that we'll have the ability to sell that. So we're in the marketplace right now,
oh,
trying
okay.
to find who that right partner for our jersey patch would be.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, let me check my funds and yeah, wow. Okay. Well, that's exciting. We saw a little bit of that this year with behind the mound. You would see that kind of behind the mound in some of the parks, a little, logo or something in the chalk there. So that's actually exciting, and I'm sure obviously benefit revenue wise for the Braves. And with the Braves, obviously World Championship last year, great season this year. Didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but I'm sure that was probably a springboard for more corporate sponsorship interests, and just assumingly.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to win.
Yeah.
Companies want to associate with a winning team, and we did not win this season, unfortunately. But at
Mhm.
the end of the year, really only one team gets to go home happy at the end of the year and
That's right.
accomplish what they set out to do when they started spring training that year. But yeah, 100%, both on the corporate as well as the premium side of our business. We had an extremely strong year, business wise, and it really was a the number one factor in that was the world championship that we won. And companies wanted to align themselves with a really good strong brand, but
Mhm.
also a winning brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as winning, I know you finished up. If I'm correct, you finished up college at UGA.
I did, yes sir.
And so, I mean, 2021 was quite a year for you then.
It was definitely quite a year from that standpoint. It was quite a good year for the state of Georgia as a whole.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've seen a championship. I was fortunate that I was here with the Braves in 1995 when we won the World Championship, but really, outside of the United winning a championship a few years
Right.
back, it it's the first time we've won one of the major four sports championships, and And there was a lot of close calls over the years, but
Hmm.
never quite got there until this past season. So
Right.
hopefully we set a good trend for Georgia sports, and our brethren at the Falcons and Hawks will be able to join us.
Yeah, Falcons are hanging in there so far, and
Yep.
the Hawks have a good nucleus as well.
Yep.
Now, did you get to ride in the parade last year after the championship?
I
If
did.
so,
I
how
did.
was that?
Uh, it was phenomenal. And I would just tell you that my expectations going in were uh, that it was going to be a fun event, but I didn't I didn't realize just how cool it was going to be.
Mhm.
And it was phenomenal. And the people that were a part of it, they got a chance to ride the floats. I mean, the fact that we were able to go through both downtown as well as Cobb County,
Mhm.
and I think we had a couple million people out on the routes. It was just jam packed the whole route that we were on, and kids were out of school.
Yeah.
It was just a really really neat event. It was much neater than I was expecting it to be, to say that.
And Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves management executive team are, I know they're doing their best to get us back there. And so you started, I think your first season with the Braves was it 92 or 93?
92, yes.
92. So 30 years. With the, do you see some similarities between that team in the early 90s who went on, reeled off 14, championships? Do you kind of see that mirrored a little in this nucleus of players that we have now? And, I don't think a lot of people realize the Braves have won 5 straight division championships, but do you kind of see some similarities and maybe see an extended run?
I definitely see an extended run, and there's definitely a lot of similarities between the team that we had back then. A lot of good young talent
Mm-hmm.
that finally kind of put it all together with some blending of veteran players to kind of, hopefully collectively come together in just the right way.
Right.
Uh, John Schuerholz is a Hall of Fame individual. He won a championship here. He won a championship with the Royals in Kansas City. He his legacy is very significant within
Mm-hmm.
our organization. But I would tell you, Alex has done a masterful job also.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the run, and not just the 5 years that we've won in a row, but also if you looked at, you said, okay, what does the future look like for the organization? I would say it looks extremely, extremely bright for quite a long time, because we have the majority of our top talent
Right.
locked in for at least the next 5 6 years. And
Right.
Alex done a tremendous job of getting those players to say, hey, we want to play in Atlanta, and we're willing to commit long term early in our career. So
Mm-hmm.
usually what happens is, in baseball, the team has control of the player for a certain amount of time. Then they obviously become free agents and can go wherever they want. Well, those players are signing with us, not just through those first years, but also through plenty of their free agent years as well. And that we've got a nucleus that will be very, very strong. We can't, much as we'd like to say, hey, we're going to win our division for the next 5 years. Uh, there's a lot of teams in our division that are very competitive. They spend a
Right.
lot of money and do a great job themselves. But whether or not we win or not, we're going to be extremely competitive, and we're going to be right there in the mix each and every year. But it's Alex and what Alex has done as far as kind of keeping that nucleus of talent together. And, one of the probably strongest compliments you could ever give him is, when we had some of those deals that we did this year, you heard certain comments about, him lapping the field of general managers.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know of any, I mean, the model that he is putting in place right now of locking in all of our good young talent long term. You've seen other clubs do that over the history of baseball, but nothing to the extent of what we have done. And I think you'll look back at some point and you'll be like, that was even more masterful than we think it is right now.
Yeah, it's incredible. And my favorite move this year was the Jesse Chavez boomerang move. That was incredible.
Yeah. Well, it tells you a little bit about the system that we
Yeah,
have in place here,
where the players are comfortable.
because you have a player that did not have the success elsewhere that he had in Atlanta, left, went back to not having the success, to coming back and having the success again. And it tells you put guys in positions, and you give a lot of credit to Snicker as well, because from a coaching perspective, you want to put them in roles that they're comfortable in and that they are set up for success in. And obviously we did that with Jesse.
Absolutely. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, something that I realized when I was doing some research for the interview. And my partner Sean, he started this social media page. We've been friends since kindergarten. We've been Braves fans since then. We're both from Columbus, Georgia.
Nice.
And last November, after the Braves won the World Series, he said, hey, let's start this Facebook fan page, and I was kind of like, okay, if you want to, we'll see how it goes. And we're creeping up on 45,000 followers, which to me is mind blowing. But I think the secret to our sauce, so to speak, is, as opposed to other kind of fan sites, we 100% try to stay positive messages, positive posts. It's an open public group, so anybody could join. So there were, quite a few Mets fans that we had to block, but
if they're not talking positive, you should block them.
Yeah, exactly. And where that kind of brings, and Sean is a mailman, so he couldn't join the interview this afternoon. But where that brings me back to is when I looked up, Jim Allen, SVP corporate, and premium partnerships, Atlanta Braves. You would think that the first result would be, here's your professional bio, here's your information on how to contact you, here's a link to all of the corporate sponsorships, but that wasn't the case. And so I really wanted to highlight what came up was all the various charities and organizations that you're involved with. And I kind of wanted to give you a chance to talk about that. And one of the ones, and I'll maybe start with this one, was a video that you did for the North American Mission Board. And Sean also, while he's not delivering the mail, he's also a pastor of a small church down in the Orlando area. But a couple of things you said there was that, through relationships, you have the opportunity to share your testimony, and that those opportunities come up in the corporate world where, maybe you have a difference, or you have a secular world and maybe a biblical world colliding. And one of the things I also enjoy is when the Braves players, a lot of the players start off with their post-game interviews, tell us about the big hit, the home run, the run scored, and they start out with thanking God first. And one of the things you said in that video was, you share the gospel and you hope that person, might come to the Lord immediately, but you plant the seed and it'll be nurtured. And that actually, I'm going to go to the good book here.
All right. I love it.
I'm going to go to the good book because this is one of Sean's favorite verses, which I think kind of encapsulated what you said. is Isaiah 55:11, which says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." And I have a note in here, a couple notes, Sean's favorite verse. But anyhow, I know that was a long run up, but I just kind of wanted to let you talk about your testimony, or how you see sports and your and the gospel kind of connecting, or anything on that layer, Jim.
Yeah, and I would tell you, I've obviously grown in my faith as I know all believers do. When I started working for the organization, I definitely didn't, wear my beliefs on my sleeve the same way that I do today. So I think that I've grown and matured, and I've also become a little bit more ingrained, if you will, into the culture of the Braves, and have a little bit more maybe of a platform to be able to do that and to share that. I mean, we do work in a very secular business. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that us as Christians aren't supposed to, integrate our faith into, what we do on a daily basis, whether that be in a secular world, from a profession perspective, or, outside of that with neighbors and others that we, interact with on a daily basis. So, I've been fortunate to be able to share my testimony and to be able to share my faith with others, not just, from a work perspective, but outside of work as well. And I think we're all called as Christians to be able to do that. And I've just always been a firm believer that that's done through relationships. And, fortunately, I'm in the relationship business. So, whether it be partners and relationships from that perspective, or coworkers internally and staff and what have you, it provides that platform to be able to do that. One thing that I've been very pleased with, and it's worked out really, really well, is we've got a discipleship group within the Braves, and I think we've got 12 guys within the Braves. There's a female one as well. And the way we like to call it, and this is coming back to my perimeter church days, and they're very big on what they call life on life discipleship. And that's what we think of as it relates to our group. It's not really what I would think of when I think of kind of a Bible study.
Right.
But we do study the Bible. We do study scripture, and we're actually doing a study on Romans right now as an example. But the fact of the matter is we do that relationally with a group of men that we're investing in each other's lives, and vice versa. And there may be times where somebody's dealing with something where we won't cover any scripture whatsoever, and we'll just, come around one of the guys in our group, and we'll, speak truth into maybe a situation that they're dealing with. And I think that's been something that I've always been a part of a group,
right,
outside of the Braves, but we're probably going on 5 or 6 years now where we've had this discipleship group together. And it was amazing how, it was, hey, let's think about doing this. And then all of a sudden, like, multiple people wanting to be a part of this group that I wouldn't even known were Christians before, but word spread fairly quickly that we were doing this, and it just opened up, and you could tell that people were hungry for being a part of a group like this. And it's been rewarding in the sense that these are people that you're in the trenches with from a work perspective, day in and day out. And just knowing that you also share that bond of being brothers in Christ, that, I think makes a difference.
Yeah, the Great Commission, go and make disciples. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, that's really encouraging. I think, for us and our fan base, I think it'd be, it's going to be great for them to hear a message of, coexistence of sports and discipleship, and, the opportunity that's there, to spread the gospel and Christianity. and it made me think, a couple of things you've said here coming into the 2023 season in corporate sponsorships. I just had this vision of Chick-fil-A as maybe one of those in the running. We'll see.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We've had conversations with them. They have
Okay.
not jumped on putting their logo onto our jersey quite yet, but
Yeah.
you never know. And
Yeah.
ultimately they're a big partner of ours already,
Right.
and
Right.
I love everything about their organization and what they stand for, their morals. Um, I'm a I'm as big a fan of Chick-fil-A as anybody you'll find.
Right. And the maybe the only drawback is they might not have the patch on the games, perhaps.
Well, their stores are still out there on Sundays. They just aren't open.
Right. That's right. That's right. Um, and I just want to maybe go ahead and wrap up just to respect the time and everything, Jim. But we're really excited to have the opportunity to talk with you, not only about what you do at on the professional level there, but the opportunities that have come about that you have to um, work within the discipleship group, and that's really exciting for us as well. And I'm sure that our Braves country fan base that follow us will really be, I think, enlightened to hear this, and hopefully, it might spark an interest and spark some desire for somebody out there who, is just looking for a sports, interview story, and maybe it'll strike them in a positive way, and we can only hope for that.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here and to be able to share with you. And I didn't know all the numbers that you had, but that's impressive. That I'm not sure why I'm worthy of being a part of it, but with that many followers, that's an impressive amount of people that you've got following you,
Yeah, you're
which
telling
does
me.
it's a
And
testimony to obviously whatever you've been doing right.
thank you. And we'll give credit to Sean there as well. And yeah, we'll look forward to maybe talking to you again in the future. And we'll look for those corporate sponsorships. And a lot of people are going to hear that first, I think, right here. So
Good,
thank
good.
you again
Well,
so much, Jim.
you bet. Thank you for the opportunity to be on.
All right. Thank you.